Behind the Shades.
When they have that moment, that aha, and they realize that they have to do work internally versus trying to, as you mentioned, change the world. Is that a process that you're walking them through it, or is it more so you're giving them the tools to identify?
Kind of both. Um, I can give a lot of tools, but tools can also become just another distraction, like, alcohol, drugs, social media, whatever the things are that we use to distract ourselves from the pain that we're experiencing. Um, and, if we can recognize that that pain is not going to go away we literally like always trying to distract ourselves. We're physiologically programmed not to experience pain. Like, we don't want to experience pain. But unfortunately or fortunately, the healing process is to go toward the pain versus trying to make it go away. So I use strategies to disrupt habitual thoughts and emotional patterns that are connected to those thoughts. Um, and obviously action comes after that, and that will change as well. Um, so that's how to get to the healing piece, is not to, obviously I use things like meditation and breathing and things like that, because of what we were talking about before in terms of the calibration of our physiology to those experiences that we had as a child, and that created our norms. And so when we recognize that those norms that were norm for us, that were a lot of times calibrated to fight, flight, or freeze, are inappropriate, like, this life is pretty safe, actually, not all the time, but most of the time we have all kinds of experiences of safety here. But when you are calibrated as a child to the fight, flight, or freeze because of it didn't feel safe, whether it was emotionally, mentally, physically, sexually, whatever, then you've got to recalibrate to a different norm. And most people don't recognize that. And that's why they keep experiencing things over and over and over again, is because they are calling into their lives based on this norm that is a little bit wackadoodle, right?
So, Erin, when you mentioned that, because I like that, the fight, flight, or freeze. Tell us a little bit about that and what exactly does that mean for the person?
Yeah, it's kind of like I was going to say caveman brain. It's kind of like that, right? It's like it's the old part of us that was really about survival, but we're clearly past just survival. Not everybody, but a lot of people are past, caveman stuff, right? We're not trying to forage and all the things. However, our brain, literally parts of our brain are like set to survival, right? The subconscious mind is almost completely about survival. And this is why, things like New Year's resolutions, dieting, all this stuff is so challenging. It's set internally. You've got internal resistance to change because the subconscious mind is only interested in survival. So we can get past just the survival, we start to recognize that there is some safety out there. So the fight, flight, or freeze is that old brain going, what do we need to do in order to make it past this next hour, this next day, whatever? And so when you are a child and say you live in you grow up in a family where there is, addiction, maybe alcohol or drugs or whatever, you begin to adapt your behavior to experience the least amount of pain, right? So if you're say father or mother or whatever comes home and you can tell when they're drinking, then you learn how to fly under the radar so that you don't agitate them, so that you don't get hit, something thrown at you, yelled at, whatever the thing is, right? And so that fight, flight, or freeze is an automatic response to when trauma is coming your way. Like, how are you going to experience it? And it's meant for, legit, like saber-tooth tiger stuff. But because we don't have those experiences anymore, but they look differently, and and sometimes they're not even physical, they're emotional. We're still doing those things. And if you continue to get into fight, flight, or freeze on a regular basis, then your nervous system is set to that as norm. And so it's very challenging. So that's why sometimes you'll see people, get super stressed out over something that seems not that challenging. It's because their nervous system is already up, right? It's already heightened. And it just takes another little thing for it to kind of fire off. And so, things like breathing and meditation can help us to recalibrate that so that we can begin to show our body that it's okay and safe to exist in whatever the situation is. But if we don't understand that, then we keep firing off at every little thing. My boss is upset with me, firing off into fight, flight, or freeze, right? Because that's our norm. Whereas, boss could be upset and you could just breathe a little bit and relax and just go, okay, well, I screwed that up, but I'm going to do better next time.